Shalom, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Reading with Shilo. With Shilo, we are here with the next reading, on the next session of the reading, The Art of Conversation by Stephen Haunts, or Stephen Haunts. I'm not sure, but it's the art of conversation. How to communicate effectively by refining your social skills. So we're going to see what else he has to say when we pick up in chapter 3, which is named The Importance of Listening. The importance of listening. All right, tell them I'm coming. We'll get in that in just a second. The importance of listening, and also chapter 4, to show 3 and 4. Chapter 4, using your eyes when you speak. Using your eyes when you speak. Chapter 3 and chapter 4 of The Art of Conversation. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. So get your pen and pad ready if you need it. Get your dictionary ready if you need it. Oh, Miss Jessica, you here for the art of conversation? Yeah, I'll be right back. Give me just a second. All right, I apologize. Oh, you have read this one, right, Miss Jessica? Well, I haven't. I'm reading it now for me and the people. We're going to see what Mr. Haunts has to say in chapters 3 and chapter 4 today. The importance of listening. The Art of Conversation by Stephen Haunts, chapter 3. The importance of listening. Once someone has grasped starting to speak or interact in a conversation, it's time to think about being on the other end of the social interaction. Listening. Listening is an important skill, and it helps reciprocate the exchange of ideas and conversations. It can be more complex than it sounds, though, and effective listening requires constant effort. Every person wants to be heard. It fulfills innate human needs. Active listening is one of the best ways to demonstrate interest and concern while someone is speaking. This can walk in both groups and on one-on-one situations. When mastering how to perform effective listening, it is important to know the difference between listening and hearing. Listening requires more focus, and goes deeper than simple hearing someone speak. I forgot to get my stuff together. I said, just in case. Just in case I find some words tonight. I need to look up in the dictionary, baby. Ah. Another important aspect of conversation is silence. Silence can signal a number of different things in the conversation, and if someone is listening, they will be able to easily pick up on and follow these cues. Silence is used as an invitation, a reprimand, a break, and sometimes an ending. Knowing the difference between types of silence requires paying attention to the words other people are saying in their body language. People value someone who is listening effectively and navigate the barriers of silence. This chapter will discuss techniques you can use in actively listen and why active listening is a desirable skill. We will also examine different types of silence, how to recognize them, and how to respond to them. Let them talk. Above all else, when interacting with others, people want to be heard. Feeling that your opinions are heard and understood helps reassure you that your ideas are real and valid. Humans are innately social, and listening to one another establishes the connections needed for successful interactions. Each person sees the situation from their own unique perspective, which forms their opinions and views on a variety of subjects. This difference in view is what can create the diversion or the diverse conversation or a difficult one. To make people feel heard during interactions, a person should remember to consider the other person's point of view before forming their own opinions or responding combatively. Remaining open to other people's ideas is the first step in hearing what they're saying and valuing the information. When someone can do this, it often makes the speaker feel validated and connected. Just like loneliness can create health problems, engaging in daily conversation can have benefits for both physical and mental health. Conversation meets the psychological need to be social, which correlates with lower stress levels. Speaking out loud can help someone organize their thoughts if they have a lot on their plate and can improve memory overall. That's what I'm doing. It works for me. Speaking to others fosters a sense of community and can make people feel as if they belong to something bigger than themselves. In addition to craving connection, humans have an innate desire for approval. Conversing with others can help fulfill a desire because it gives a person an opportunity to gain acceptance while receiving needed attention from others. Expressing ideas, especially with like minded groups, can reinforce the idea that someone is appreciated for their interests and contributions, and this satisfies people's desire to be part of a community. Conversations often make a person feel liked and understood by others, which can satisfy the need for societal approval. If their conversation partner is an effective listener, they may even receive feedback on how to improve their ideas. This collaboration can signal to the person that they are desired in return and help raise their self esteem. When people feel heard, they are typically more inclined to continue speaking and share more about themselves and thus continue the conversation. This is likely because their social needs are being met and they want to continue that feeling of approval and acceptance. The more intimate details you share with others, the closer to and more connected with them you feel. Although they may seem synonymous, hearing someone and listening to them are two very different tasks. Ironically, people feel heard when their conversational partner is effectively listening to them. Hearing is typically defined as simply picking up sound and processing its meaning. When a person hears someone, they are listening to the words, but not necessarily considering the meaning behind them. Listening goes one step further. It includes taking the words, considering the meaning behind them, and responding appropriately to the underlying context of the conversation. Listening often requires more concentration and attention to other factors, such as body language, to decipher the true meaning of a message. When people would like to be effective listeners to help their friends and colleagues work through difficult situations. But unfortunately, most people are naturally ineffective listeners. In fact, research shows people retain only 20 to 50% of what they hear. Given that small window, it is unlikely that the person would gather the most important information. Even if they were able to retain such important information, this large gap in attention might mean that they lack context for the information that they have gathered, which could lead to misunderstandings. Developing effective listening skills can help in social situations, personal relationships, and work situations. If friends know someone is a good listener, they may be more inclined to speak to them regarding any issues or conflicts that they are working through because they know that their ideas will be heard. In personal relationships, listening is important because it makes a person more able to create effective compromises. Mm. At work, effective listening shows maturity and responsibility and makes it more likely a person will better collaborate on project with their team members. An easy way for a person to show people they are paying attention is to employ active listening in conversation. This means using simple body language cues and consistent verbal feedback to signal they are listening to their conversational partner and considering their words. When someone listens actively, they are making a concerted effort to hear and retain all the information being presented. Using body language not only shows the partner that someone is listening, but can also help reinforce the points in the listener's mind. The basic tactics of active listening include nodding, taking notes, and restating points to ensure clarity. These tactics all demonstrate understanding and open the opportunity for clarity in case there was a misunderstanding. By signaling that they are interested in the conversation, the person invites the speaker to ask if they have opinions or ideas to build on the topic being discussed. Another key aspect of listening is waiting for silence, which can indicate a number of things in a conversation. One possibility is that the speaker is ready for their partner to jump in into the speaking role. Understanding conversational silence and pauses relies on effective listening because a pause without context can be misinterpreted. If someone was not listening, they might interpret a pause to change topics as an opportunity to begin speaking when it was not actually appropriate. Waiting for the correct opening and respecting meaningful silence can show respect, excuse me, for the speaker. Listening carefully and not interrupting can make the speaker feel heard and important, whereas jumping in at the wrong time and potentially restating something already said could insult them. Silence in the conversation can dictate the speed of the interaction or to be a nonverbal cue that something is wrong. Pauses in speech and verbal pace of the conversation can often be a signal regarding how long the person intends to speak. Someone who pauses often to consider their words or speaks slowly may expect a more in depth conversation with someone. Alternately, if someone is not pausing and speaking quickly, they are more likely signaling they do not plan on speaking for long. Hmm. I have to write some of these down. You're moving too fast, you're trying to get gone. You talking that Geechee talk, you ain't gonna be here long. Another use for silence can be to convey that something inappropriate was said, especially in groups. When someone says something that is not generally accepted by the others, it is often met by silence. This is a type of negative reinforcement of the behavior by not responding with positive verbal feedback. On the other hand, silence can be used to encourage further conversation. A good way to use silence is to this end is to ask questions in the conversation and remain quiet until the other people is able to answer. Even if it takes some time for them to form a response, remaining silent demonstrates patience and a genuine interest in the answer. Remaining silent while others are speaking can show them that they will have the opportunity to state their opinions without being interrupted. This can foster more confidence in the speaker and help them resist the urge to edit their thoughts. This type of silence can demonstrate that a person wants to get to know their conversation partner beyond superficial small talk. Man, excuse me. Body language during silence is an important way to communicate mood and receptiveness. When a person is postured openly, people receive that is being friendly and are more likely to feel comfortable approaching that person and sharing ideas. If someone is using open body language, they are more likely to have an open ended conversation. And on the other hand, if someone is closed off, arms crossed, looking down, blank face, people will feel more uneasy and be less likely to start a lengthy conversation. The power of listening. The power of listening. A good listener is highly valued by others because, as discussed previously, being heard invokes a number of positive emotions in people. Having an effective listener as a conversational partner can show the speaker that someone understands their point of view. It is a way for the speaker to be seen in the light they would like to be seen in, instead of many contexts people may view them in during the day. Another benefit of having someone listen is that it empowers people to continue sharing their ideas with others. Being attentive, being attentive will benefit the listener because it can help them solve complex problems, make difficult decisions, and steer clear of conflicts with others. Active listening means a person is taking in considerable amounts of information and considering other viewpoints. It means they retain more of the information, so their bank of resources from problem solving it will be larger than those of others. This plethora of information can help when someone needs to make a difficult decision. They will be able to consider the problem from multiple viewpoints, which can help someone determine their own feelings or examine situations they may not have even considered. An active listener is likely to meet other people who are willing to take the time to reciprocate and listen to them. Having people willing to share their feedback can make difficult decisions a little bit easier. I'll draw. When people practice empathy and listening, it makes it more likely they will react with compassion in difficult situations. Having this positive emotional reaction makes it easier for the person to avoid the conflict that might arise due to not considering another person's feelings. Hearing the other person out shows that you are willing to be patient so that the other person feels heard and valued. It also ensures a person will not accuse someone of anything inaccurate in the heat of the moment. Reacting with patience and empathy can help arguments remain calm and civilized. In the event someone does end up in an argument, oh shit. Listening can be the key to a successful resolution. Remembering not to immediately respond with emotion and hear the other person's view first can show that someone is willing to reach a resolution instead of engaging in a screaming match. It gives a person an opportunity to respond with empathy once they are aware of how the other person is feeling. The ability to effectively listen to others can have a major impact on someone's social success. Not being distracted by outside stimuli and giving feedback on someone's points demonstrates a willingness to focus on and contribute to the conversation. It shows the person that their ideas are being heard and valued, which makes them more likely to elaborate and ask for advice. It makes it easier for the listener to retain information if they are able to block out distractions and focus on the speaker instead of what they are planning to say next. While focusing on the conversation, it is important to restate anything that may seem confusing to clarify the information and to ensure that there is no misunderstandings. This is this not only shows that a person is invested in understanding the information, but also ensures that they will not present it incorrectly to someone else. Giving the speaker an opportunity to clarify points shows that the listener is concerned with not only hearing their point of view, but understanding it on a deeper level as well. Asking broad questions to encourage the other person to elaborate will ultimately provide a better idea of that other person's views. In this way, a person can react with empathy. Allowing someone to carry the conversation can give the listener more context about why someone might feel the way they do. It's supposed to be the feel the way might feel, yeah, that's supposed to be the. Allowing someone to carry the conversation can give the listener more context about why someone might feel the way they do and teach them how to react if a similar situation arose in the future. Responding with empathy shows someone is considering the speaker's feelings in addition to the information, which can help the speaker feel comfortable sharing more personal information. That was chapter 3. That was chapter 3, the importance of listening. Chapter 4, using your eyes when you speak. Using your eyes when you speak. Look here, look down. Using your eyes when you speak. Chapter 4. Ooh. Some people may think that listening to others is a job for only their ears, but it is a task for their eyes as well. Looking for cues beyond people's words can help someone establish context and to get to the root of the message, even if the person is not saying it directly. Making eye contact creates an intimate environment that can encourage someone to be more open with their conversational partner. It makes the conversation and the speaker more memorable. Looking at the people for cues also includes using appearances to make statements. Most people are judged first by their appearance and second by their personality. Knowing how to dress appropriately and show the right message about the situation can lead to higher confidence. Finally, awkward situations can be the death of conversations unless the person knows what to look for to break the tension. If a person can see where the tension is coming from, it is considerably easier to dispel it and get a conversation back on track. This chapter will discuss how to look for clues in people's posture when they are speaking and the benefits of making eye contact during conversations. We will go over how appearances can affect perception, how to handle diversity, and how to diffuse an awkward situation. Use your eyes. Use your eyes. Much like listening and hearing are different activities, looking and seeing are also distinctive tasks based on how a person is responding to the information. Someone who is seeing something may not be receiving all the contextual information that the object they are looking at conveys. For example, if someone sees a stick in the ground, it is most likely on the passing glance, and they do not continue thinking about it. If someone is looking at the stick, however, they may stop walking and bend over to examine it so they can draw conclusions about why it fell or how it got there. Looking at something means taking in information and using that to form thoughts and opinions. Looking at a person's qualities instead of seeing their appearance can help someone find a way to connect with them and understand them better. When doctors see their patients, they will look at the way the patients is feeling and see the test results to put together a hypothesis. Looking for the feeling behind people's words can give context to their conversation and help someone interact more appropriately than if they weren't looking at for such clues. Speakers will notice when their conversational partner is looking at them instead of being distracted and are often encouraged to continue being open. Part of looking is making eye contact during conversations. This is a great way to use nonverbal communication to connect with others and to show that someone is truly paying attention to the speaker. Eye contact has been shown to make conversations more memorable for the listeners and to help people remember the speaker later. It is a great way to bridge the gap between hearing and listening by engaging the other persons in the conversation. Making eye contact encourages people to be honest and make them more aware of themselves, which makes them more conscientious conversational partners. Hmm. Let me make some eye contact with y'all. Making eye contact can be nerve-wracking for some. Because it demonstrates a certain level of intimacy not everyone is comfortable with. If a person is uncomfortable making eye contact in conversations, there are a few ways that they can work their way up to it. Practicing eye contact on video calls, for example, is the way to get a feel for the activity while still using a buffer zone so that it is not quite so intimate. When confronted with the real life conversation, if someone cannot bring themselves to make eye contact, they can try looking at the spot near the other person's eyes without looking directly into them. That makes me think that a person just, they might not be about what they talking about. They want to look in your eyes. They scary or they lying. That's what I think. I don't know. Maybe that goes with, some people are taught that when you're talking to people, you always look them in the eyes. You know. And maybe that goes with that. But I can understand how people can have a lack of confidence in that area. When confronted with the real life conversation, if someone cannot bring themselves to make eye contact, they can try looking at the spot near the other person's eyes without looking directly into them. This makes the person think their listener is making eye contact and often produces similar benefits. I can tell when you're not looking at my eyes. If someone is looking at the speaker in a conversation, they may notice that most people have a persona they put on when speaking to others. Most people have a personal self and a social self, which is what they present to the world. Oftentimes, the social self seems more put together and in control than the person feels that they actually are. This mask helps them feel more appealing, but a skilled onlooker can detect cracks in the mask. No one wants to present an alternate persona all the time. So if a listener can give them the opportunity to shed the mask, it can lead to trust between the two people. Although most people would not say it, there is an underlying understanding in society that everyone wants to be heard, seen, and valued. People offer opinions to groups to feel included and connected to others. If they feel they don't quite fit in, they may put on the social mask to make themselves more appealing to the group. By creating a persona they think is more likely to be accepted, they may feel they have solidified a chance to feel valued to a community. Masks are not always worn to make someone more desirable, though. Some people wear their mask as a deterrent, hoping to keep others away so they do not have to face their own insecurities. These masks can be things such as anger, irritability, and rudeness, anything that helps to keep other people from connecting with them. This could be because they are terrified that if they show their true self to someone, that person might be unimpressed and uninterested. Often masks of deterrence are a self-preservation tactic and a way to refrain from being vulnerable to others. Despite how scary it may be, if someone can manage to take their mask off, it can be an incredibly rewarding experience. When they take off their mask, a person can experience relief from the constant effort it takes to keep up a persona for others to keep track of how to act when in front of which groups. It gives them an opportunity to realize that people will accept them for who they are without having to put on a show. This positive reinforcement of vulnerability often leads to increased self confidence and self esteem. Look behind the curtain. Look behind the curtain. Despite the adage, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. The adage. I think that's how adage. Despite the adage, let's look it up. ADAGE. Adage. I think that's what it is. Adage. Adage. An ancient piece of popular wisdom. Adage. I'll write it down. Adage. ADAGE. Despite the popular piece of old school wisdom, or despite the adage, don't judge a book by its cover. People often form first impressions based on appearance because speaking to someone. Don't judge a book by its cover. People often form first impressions based on appearance before speaking to someone. Therefore, it's important for people to dress the way they want people to see them. If someone's wardrobe is organized and neatly pressed, most people will perceive that person is organized and in control. The converse is true as well. Facial cues play a large role in people's perceptions of others. A smile and open body posture show that someone is friendly and open to new ideas and can encourage others to approach them and start a conversation. Alternatively, frowning or blank faces and closed off body postures, such as crossed arms, can give people a leave me alone message that may keep them from approaching. Studies have shown that appearance can be determined, that appearance can even determine what you are paid at your job. A 2004 study performed by Timothy Judge at the University of Florida showed that tall people are paid almost $800 more than shorter competitors. Oh, Lord. Height shaming. Height shaming. Another study from George Washington University showed that overweight people are paid significantly less than average weight people. Other studies showed that even trivial attributes, such as hair color, physical fitness, and wearing makeup, can often affect a person's pay rate. With this in mind, it is important for people to be aware of how they are presenting themselves in a business setting. Dressing professionally can mean the difference between a moderate salary and a substantial raise. In a business setting, people need to make sure their clothes fit well and are free of wrinkles, tears, blemishes, and stains. Sleek lines and simple colors are preferred to bright patterns. It can be a good idea for someone to always have a suit on hand in case they are pulled into a board meeting. In that case, they will still have appropriate attire. This level of judgment does not feel near nice to hear. It is wrong and discriminatory, but sadly, it does happen. So be aware of how you present yourself in specific social circles can make a big difference in how easy your conversations are. Your personal style can be given a little more leeway in the same sense that people can express themselves in terms of colors and materials, but should still remember that others will be using appearance to make judgments. Some simple rules you can follow to be sure you are presenting an appealing image are to dress for the occasion and always look like you put some effort into your appearance. Shit. Woo. For example, wearing pajamas to the grocery store, no matter what time, does not show that a person put effort into what they are wearing and suggests an image of being a sloth. I'll agree. Smart jeans and a designer t-shirt, however, show that the person cared enough about their own image to want others to think they look good as well. Just like everyone has their own personal style, people have different personalities and communication styles. Part of interacting is embracing people's differences and working with them to expand personal talents and abilities. When speaking with someone different from yourself, you should make an effort to use empathy and understanding things from the other person's perspective. It is worth noting that accepting someone for their differences and being open minded does not mean a person has to agree with them. Part of overcoming differences is being able to have discussions about things people disagree on. In the event someone has never encountered diversity or does not know how to handle it, there are three things they can remember to be respectful and to try to understand the other person. First, a person should always be aware of most social situations are made up of diverse people who all have different ideas and backgrounds. Beyond this, beyond this though, these people will all have similarities as well. A person attempting to bridge this diversity gap can search for similarities between themselves and the other person to establish a common ground they can then move forward from. The next thing to remember is that in almost all diversity situations, there is something to learn from the other person. Asking questions about differences can help someone understand a culture or set of beliefs that are different from their own and allow them to proceed in a respectful manner. Almost got me. Um, be able to relate some of their own views to those of the other person. It is usually a better practice to ask and learn than wrong. Finally, sometimes interacting with other people may require a specific skill, such as knowing a foreign language. In those situations, a person may need to use an interpreter or help the other person understand their own language using techniques other than verbal conversation. Interaction with someone who is staunchly different can sometimes cause anxiety with when a person is trying to find a common topic to discuss. When a person should remember, a person should remember to be brave and confident in these situations. If they are making the effort to understand the other person's differences, they may even be able to find meaningful information in that discussion. If the root of the anxiety is a fear of saying something incorrect or offensive, then a person should ask questions about the topics they are unsure of to ensure that they do not upset the other person unintentionally. Most interactions have the potential to become awkward for several reasons. If a skilled conversationalist knows how to address the elephant in the room, however, they can easily dissipate the tension. Unfortunately, sometimes the elephant in the room may be the person themselves. And the best way to dismiss this kind of tension is to acknowledge your own shortcomings. For example, if someone is attempting to speak to a socially awkward person and they are constantly answering with short, terse sentences. Terse. Terse. What is terse? Terse. Terse. Terse sentences. Terse. Terse. Man, I've heard these words before. Terse. Terse. Concise. Concise. I'll stick with that. Succinct. I'm not sure. I want to look it up right now. Short, concise sentences. Short, terse sentences. The initiator may think they are being rude, and the room could become tense. In this situation, the anxious person could simply try to continue the conversation and show they are interested in the interaction. When the tension is coming from somewhere else, a person should gauge the situation by looking for facial cues and body language before stepping in. Sometimes a conversation fizzles out, and there is a moment of pause because of group disperses. This is a natural occurrence at the end of an interaction and does not necessarily warrant intervention. If someone has just said something that was met with silence, crossed arms, and people distancing themselves, it may be time to hop in and lighten the mood by moving the conversation to a more acceptable topic. There are many reasons an interaction can go stale, and most center around a lack of communication. A lack of communication between strangers, which can make approaching someone new especially intimidating. A person may feel particularly awkward when they enter a room where they do not know anyone else. This may make them wary regarding what topics are acceptable. So they might remain silent or unsuccessfully attempt to enter conversations. Accidentally entering another person's personal space can create an awkward situation. Most people have their personal boundary, and they like it to remain unoccupied in order to feel comfortable speaking to others. When someone invades this space, it can make the person feel uncomfortable. Luckily, there are a variety of techniques you can use to diffuse awkward situations. Like, get the hell off me. No. Ah! That might not be the best one, but get your goddamn hands off of me. Luckily, there are a variety of techniques you can use to diffuse awkward situations, such as what is mentioned previously. You can ask questions to try to find a common interest between the people in the conversations so that there is a topic that everyone can contribute to. It is easy to diffuse awkward situations by simply helping others, either with a problem you see them having or with getting away from the awkward comment that they just made. One last attempt to clear the awkwardness can be simply pointing it out. Sometimes showing people they are allowed to laugh at whatever happens is enough to ease the tension and open the conversation again. And that was chapter 4. Chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter of The Art of Conversation by Stephen Holtz or Stephen Holtz. One of the two. Chapter 3 being the importance of listening, and chapter 4, using your eyes when you speak. Use your eyes when you speak. I just kept thinking about how some people, and I think I do it. I'm guilty of it. When they talking to you, they touch you. Put their hands on your shoulders, grab you around that muscle on your arm. Yeah, but get your chapter 5 next time when we come back next time, whatever that is. Chapter 5 will be starting a conversation. Starting a conversation. You know, we'll go 5 and 6 next time. Chapter 5 is starting a conversation. Chapter 6, the context of a conversation. Hey, we're moving right along through the book. The book only has 11 chapters, so we're already on chapter 5. We're almost halfway through the book. We can see what Mr. Hawks has to say in the rest of the book about the art of conversation. I think that's a skill a lot of people need to learn, man. Listening, effective listening, active listening. I could use some of that. You know, I could use some of those skills, plus some more good things to add to the repertoire. But hopefully that there was something that you may have heard that may have sparked something that you could take and apply to your life. For those who have read the book already, hopefully it was things that you have applied, and maybe it was something that you heard that you may have jogged your memory about something, that you hadn't applied, or maybe can use it more today than it might not have seemed you could have used it before. So, but we'll keep pushing. We'll keep pushing, trying to see what we can learn and grow from in the different books that we read. Hopefully it can help you just like I'm trying to allow it to help me. But until next time, man, I hope that y'all have a wonderful night. I thank all of you who have been here listening, watching. Till next time, shalom, everybody. Shalom.